Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Oh,
This time, we're going to be looking at something that you probably don't think about a whole lot, commercial pest control.
yeah.
And we'll be looking specifically at a company called Freedom Wildlife Solutions and Pest Control.
Hmm.
And they're operating out of Clayton, North Carolina.
Gotcha.
Now, whether you're a business owner who's worried about creepy crawlies or you're just kind of curious how this whole industry works,
Right.
you're in the right place.
Okay, cool.
Because we're going to uncover some pretty surprising stuff.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that some pests are, like, way more common in industrial settings? Or that restaurants face, like, unique challenges that could, like, totally ruin your appetite?
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
So let's get started with the basics.
Okay.
Why does pest control even matter for businesses?
Well,
I mean, beyond just being, like, a nuisance,
yeah.
what are the real problems that pests can cause?
Yeah, so, think about it this way. A pest infestation isn't just like a few bugs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can really pose some serious risks to a company's, bottom line,
Wow.
their reputation,
Oh.
and even the health and safety of their employees and their customers.
Oh, wow. That's a lot more serious than I was thinking about at first.
It is.
Yeah.
Pests can contaminate food.
Oh, yuck.
They spread diseases, and they can even damage property.
Wow.
So for a business, this could mean lawsuits,
Uh-oh.
hefty fines,
Oh, no.
a whole lot of bad press.
Yeah, that's not good.
And let's be real, who wants to eat in a restaurant or shop in a store knowing they have a pest problem?
Right. Like, just thinking about it gives me the ick.
Totally.
Oh, it reminds me of this one time.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah.
So let's introduce our star of the show here,
Right.
Freedom Wildlife Solutions and Pest Control.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
can you tell us about them?
Well, they are a veteran and family-owned company,
Okay.
and they serve a bunch of counties around the Raleigh-Durham area. And check this out.
Yeah.
You've got a 5-star rating,
Really?
which is pretty impressive for a pest control company.
Yeah, 5 stars. That means they must be doing something right.
Definitely.
So what makes them stand out from the crowd?
Well, I think their deep understanding of the local area is really key,
Okay.
because pests aren't one size fits all.
Right.
Different regions have different climates, different types of bugs, and even different regulations.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. And Freedom Wildlife Solutions really uses their local expertise to tackle those specific challenges.
Okay.
For example, they know that carpenter ants are a huge problem in this region,
Mm-hmm.
and they're well equipped to deal with them.
Okay, so let's dive into, like, some specifics here.
Okay.
Their website talks about restaurant pest control.
All right.
And let's be honest, that's a topic that could, like, make or break your whole dining experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And did you know that something like 75% of restaurants face pest issues every year?
What, 75%?
Yeah.
I had no idea it was that common.
It's a nightmare, but it's something they have to be super vigilant about.
So why are restaurants so vulnerable to pests?
Well, just think about it.
Okay.
Food prep areas, storage spaces full of delicious ingredients, warm temperatures, moisture from dishwashing.
Oh,
It's basically a pest paradise.
you're making me rethink my lunch choices.
And for restaurants, the consequences of a pest infestation can be really severe.
I bet.
We're talking about health code violations that can shut them down
Oh.
faster than you can say food poisoning.
Oh, jeez.
And then there's the damage to their reputation, which can be devastating,
Yeah.
thanks to social media and online reviews.
Oh, man. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
that reminds me of this one time I was having dinner with a friend
Oh,
at this cute little bistro, and out of nowhere, a cockroach just casually strolled across the floor
oh no.
right by our table.
Ugh, I can only imagine.
It was horrifying.
Yeah, it's amazing how one little bug can totally ruin a meal
Right.
and potentially an entire business.
And that's probably why Freedom Wildlife Solutions and Pest Control emphasizes discretion in their services.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they get that pest control has to happen without, like, disrupting the customer experience.
Right.
Especially in a place like a restaurant.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's shift gears from restaurants to industrial settings.
Okay.
Like factories, warehouses, those kinds of places.
Yeah.
What kind of pest problems do they face?
Well, industrial settings are a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
We're talking massive spaces with countless hiding places for pests.
Oh, wow.
And depending on the industry, they might store materials that attract certain types of bugs,
Like what?
like grains, fabrics, you name it.
So it's not just about food anymore?
Nope, not at all.
Wow, and here's something interesting I saw on their website.
Okay.
They also handle rodent and wildlife prevention in industrial settings. So
Yeah.
we're not just talking insects here. It's like a whole ecosystem of potential pests
It is.
that they have to deal with.
They do.
Wow. They really are a one-stop shop for all things creepy crawlies.
They are.
Now, their website outlines a 3-step process for how they tackle pest control.
Okay.
So let's walk through that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, step 1, inspection.
Right.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But what does a thorough inspection actually involve?
Well, it's more than just like a quick glance around.
I imagine so.
Yeah, a thorough inspection is like detective work.
Oh, okay.
The technicians at Freedom Wildlife Solutions are trained to identify like the specific type of pest,
Okay.
figure out where they're coming from, and assess how bad the infestation is.
Gotcha.
They're looking for clues like droppings,
Ew.
nests, gnaw marks, any other sign of pest activity.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the root cause of the problem,
Right.
not just like slapping a Band-Aid on the symptoms.
Yeah, so they're not just exterminators or like pest detectives.
Exactly.
I like that.
And that's why experience and expertise are so crucial in this field. A trained technician can spot things that an untrained eye might miss completely.
Okay. On to step 2, treatment.
Right.
This is where things get a little more hands-on.
Yeah.
So what kind of treatments are we talking about?
Well, it really depends on the pest and the specific situation.
Okay.
It could involve like baits and traps,
Mm-hmm.
targeted pesticides,
Okay.
or even physical removal.
Wow.
But the key is to use the most effective and safest methods possible.
Right.
And that's where Freedom Wildlife Solutions really shines.
How so?
They are committed to using environmentally friendly solutions whenever they can.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about places where food is handled
Right.
or where there might be like kids or pets.
Exactly. Reputable pest control companies are incredibly careful about the products they use and how they apply them.
Makes sense.
They want to get rid of the pests without posing any risk to people, pets, or the environment.
Okay. On to the final step.
Okay.
Ongoing monitoring. So pest control isn't just a one-time fix, is it?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Think of it like going to the dentist.
Okay.
You might get a cleaning,
Right.
but you still need to brush and floss every day to prevent future problems.
Yeah.
It's the same with pest control. Regular checkups and maintenance are key to preventing those pesky critters from coming back.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
So it sounds like Freedom Wildlife Solutions takes a really comprehensive approach to pest control.
They do.
From that initial inspection all the way through to ongoing monitoring.
Yes.
Now let's talk about where they operate their website lists. Pretty impressive service area.
It does. They cover several counties in and around the Raleigh-Durham area,
Okay.
including Durham,
Mm-hmm.
Harnett, Johnston, Lee Nash, Wake Wayne, and Wilson.
Wow.
They even mentioned some specific communities,
Oh, really?
like Anderson Creek and McGee's Crossroads,
Okay.
which really shows their commitment to serving that local community.
Wow, that is a lot of ground.
It is.
It really speaks to their experience and ability to handle all kinds of pest challenges across different areas.
Absolutely. Different counties might have different climates.
Yeah, that's true.
Different pest populations, and even different regulations.
Right.
So being able to operate effectively across such a large area
Mm-hmm.
is a true testament to their expertise.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here today.
We have.
We talked about the serious risks pests pose to businesses,
Right.
why restaurants in industrial settings have their own unique challenges, and how Freedom Wildlife Solutions tackles pest control with their impressive 3-step process.
It is impressive.
But before we wrap things up, I want to zoom out for a second.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the specifics of commercial pest control,
Right.
but what does this all mean for the average person?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to overlook the importance of pest control,
Mm-hmm.
but it really impacts our lives in so many ways.
Okay.
Every time we eat at a restaurant,
Right.
shop at a store, or even go to work,
Yeah.
we're relying on businesses to maintain a clean and safe environment.
And pest control is a huge part of that.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about keeping our homes bug-free. It's
Right.
about protecting public health and safety on a larger scale.
Exactly. Pest infestations can lead to food contamination,
Ah.
the
Okay.
spread of diseases, and even allergic reactions.
Wow.
And in some cases, they can even cause structural damage to buildings.
No way.
So effective pest control is essential for protecting our communities and our economy.
I never really thought about it that way.
It's true.
It really puts things in perspective.
It does.
Next time I'm out and about, I'll definitely be paying more attention to the signs of good pest control practices.
I think that's a fantastic takeaway.
Yeah,
We often take it for granted,
we do.
but there are a lot of people working hard behind the scenes to keep our businesses and public spaces pest-free.
True.
It's something we should all appreciate.
Absolutely. So to sum things up, What would you say is the most important thing for our listeners to remember about commercial pest control?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that pest control is an ongoing process.
Okay.
It's not a one-time fix, it's a commitment.
Gotcha.
Businesses need to be proactive and vigilant to prevent those infestations from happening.
Mm-hmm.
That means partnering with a reputable pest control company like Freedom Wildlife Solutions,
Right.
establishing a regular inspection and treatment schedule,
Okay.
and just being aware of the potential risks.
Great advice. And for our listeners who might be business owners themselves,
Yeah.
what are some red flags they should look out for?
Okay.
How can they tell if it's time to call in the professionals?
Well, seeing live pests is an obvious one.
Yeah, no kidding.
But you should also be on the lookout for more subtle signs,
Like what?
like droppings, nests, gnaw marks, or any other indication of pest activity.
Okay.
If you notice anything suspicious, it's always best to err on the side of caution
Right.
and call a pest control company right away.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Early detection and treatment are key to preventing a small problem from becoming a huge infestation.
Totally. And I bet that can save businesses a ton of time, money, and headaches in the long run.
Definitely. Speaking of prevention,
Yeah?
I saw something interesting on Freedom Wildlife's website.
Okay.
They mentioned something called integrated pest management.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
So integrated pest management, or IPM, is a really cool approach.
Okay.
It's not just about spraying pesticides.
Mm.
It's like understanding the pest's whole life cycle,
Okay.
their behavior patterns,
Right.
their favorite spots,
Yeah.
and then using a combination of strategies to manage them.
So it's a more holistic approach.
Exactly.
Taking the whole ecosystem into account.
It might involve things like modifying the environment to make it less attractive to pests,
Okay.
using physical barriers, employing natural predators,
Wow.
and only using pesticides as like a last resort.
That sounds like a much more sustainable and eco-friendly way to deal with pests.
It is.
It's not about wiping them out completely, but
Right.
finding a way to coexist.
Exactly. And it's something that we as consumers can support
How so?
by choosing businesses that are committed to using IPM methods
Okay.
and making choices in our own lives that minimize our impact on the environment.
Like what kind of choices? Any practical tips?
But just think about it, properly storing food,
Okay.
sealing up cracks and crevices in our homes,
Mhm.
being mindful of our waste disposal.
Right.
All of these simple things can really make a difference.
It's about making your home less hospitable to pests.
Exactly.
That's great advice. It's amazing how even small changes can have a big impact.
Totally. It all comes back to that idea of interconnectedness.
Okay.
We're all part of this web of life,
Mm-hmm.
and our actions have consequences,
For sure.
both good and bad. The more we understand about the natural world,
Right.
the better we can make choices that benefit both us and the planet.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. So big thanks to our expert for joining us today and sharing all of this amazing knowledge.
It's my pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of commercial pest control.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you learned something new, maybe gained a new perspective, and maybe even a little bit of an appreciation for these creatures that we share the world with.
And remember,
What's that?
next time you see a pest control truck, think about the whole ecosystem.
Okay,
Could there be a better way to coexist?
that's something to think about. Until next time, stay curious, everyone.